Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. I hope you are doing great and I hope you had a fantastic week. Today we are on another interesting topic. So, as single parents, we juggle a lot of things. We juggle so many things, and sometimes, we can get overcritical about our children, their performance, what they're doing. But today Nelly and I, we're going to be pausing to just reflect and celebrate our children. So today, our topic for today is celebrating our children. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Peggy Barre. I am a founder of At Rise and Thrive Academy. And I just want to introduce you to Nelly to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Nelly Kwasunwe, a social worker, transformational life coach, and founder of Hand in Hand Community CIC or co-founder. Today, we are so excited to talk about celebrating our children. And we are celebrating Valentine's Day tomorrow, which is all focused on love. So then, how are these two related? So Valentine's Day mostly focuses on love. And we know that love starts from the home. But there are so many other things that start from the home. And we as human beings are born out of love, which is from our source, our creator, our God, whatever you call. We are born out of love. So no one teaches anyone to love. We can reflect on that in children, but then we learn from fear that we cannot love. And when we get much older, because of the fear, the beliefs, the mindset that we have developed, we find it really, really challenging to actually love. Why is that the case? So today, we will be focusing on celebrating our children.
Absolutely. That is so true, Nelly. And it is very important to just kind of go a little bit back, like you say, from how we were brought up, where the word love was even just so difficult. I know there were times that you could hear people say love, but amongst between parent and child, there were very, very few families, I don't think I ever heard it when I was growing, or maybe but the thing is that love was being demonstrated in another way. And just for you to hear that word, hey, my child, I love you, it was hard to get. And so because of that, we grow with that mindset. And again, most of our children, if it's not something that we are trained to do it, we will find it also difficult to tell your child that, hey, I love you. It sounds weird sometimes, but it's about practicing consciously, like say it consciously. So, as parents, Nelly, again, like I said it in the introduction, sometimes we can be so critical because of our own stresses, because of the own commitment that we go through. Sometimes we are just so focused on what the kids haven't done that we forget on what they have done. And because we focus so much on what they haven't done, celebration doesn't come in. And that love even doesn't come in. Because then that is where we start to tie love from maybe something that child has done that pleases us, pleases us. We forget to know that even in the time where they don't do what we've told them to do, that love is still there. Because as a parent, that love is there, whether good or bad, the love is there. But it takes consciousness for us to actually show it, and for our children to also understand that, you know what, no matter what, we love them. So I think, I don't know whether you want to say something so that we not start think of looking at, recognizing that first of all, that everyday win and growth in our children that we think is worth celebrating.
Yeah, I just picked up on one thing that you said. Using the word I love you to my child It's not something that everyone will feel comfortable to use it.
Mm.
But like you said, growing up, most of our parents, they demonstrated love and they made us to feel valued in one way or another, which
Mm.
boosted confidence. Even those parents whom we feel did not show love to their children, it's because of the baggages that they were carrying. But deep
Yeah.
within, they love the child, but it's that lack of expression. How do they
Hmm.
express to their child? But
Mm.
unfortunately, the children, we grow up with that mentality that we cannot show love. And that is why when we talk of love, people think just one thing, because love can mean just giving high five. It means a
Yeah.
lot to different people. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
just giving a hug. Sometimes it's just sitting and do nothing, just sitting, observe the silence. So people display love in many different ways. It doesn't just mean that you have to say, "Oh, I love you." Some people, when you say that, they look at you and they'll be like, "Where are you
Yeah.
from?" But it takes practice. Once you start using the word I love you, then
Hmm.
bit by bit, you, your children, it becomes used to. And then they can also extend that to other people. So when they say I love you, it doesn't mean the sexualized type. It's just how
Absolutely.
they feel about something.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, Nelly, I thought that it will be sometimes easy because I feel that the war with the way our generation is actually portrayed love, that if somebody said they love you, well, you will hear it's used casually, it's used in other ways, like other meaning, and people will interpret it in different ways. I just thought that if looking from the parenting side, or even looking from any side, any point of view, where I don't know about whoever, about our viewers, but as from the biblical perspective, just like you say in the beginning, you talk about, our creator and how he loved us and all of that. Biblical love, definition of biblical love is patient, love is kind, right? Love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. And then it keeps no record of wrongs. And love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with truth. So if you were to take the definition, like you say, love, if somebody say, I love you, then these are some of the qualities that you will be demonstrating or portraying, being kind to your child, being it is not boastful and all of that, not keeping anger. Maybe sometimes your child has hurt you, and how often can you forgive and all of those things. So it encompasses a lot of things, and it is very important that as parents we need to know that these little things that we do every day, like you said, Nelly, it can be a hawk. It can be just making sure that the kids have food. It can make me just be that they have clean clothing, they have a clean house, their well-being is being looked after. That is love. But again, sometimes our children also needs to hear it from our mouth that we love them, because from the society where they're growing, maybe they are with friends, and amongst all their friends, they hear their parents tell their friends, hey, buddy, I love you. Hey, I love you. I love you. And if we ourselves are not, if they're not hearing that from us, and no matter what we are doing, we can be doing 99% of all the attribute of love. But maybe just that 1% of saying, of verbally verbalizing it, that, hey, I love you, that can, you know, just by saying that, that can mean a lot for our children. So yes, so I just thought I should add that. And
And
then
just
yeah,
to add, like now
yeah,
there's a lot of texting. There is
yes,
emoji. Mm.
yes,
That emoji, there are different colors, they have different meanings and things like that.
yes.
You can as well, because it takes courage for people to even say the word because it's a big trigger to some people
Yeah.
and negative, of course.
Yeah.
So it's for you, like you said before, it's something to be conscious about it. So start
Mm-hmm.
small. You can start
Yeah.
by using the emoji because I remember fully well, I said to someone, I love you. And it was not in it was just the plain for me, I consider it just a plain love because like with my children, I tell them
Mm-hmm.
every single day, I love you. We
Mm-hmm.
know that we tell each other, I love you, I
Yeah.
love you. So but when I said to this a person that I love you, the person looked at me as if I fell from space. And I was like, to me, I felt embarrassed because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it was just love, similar
Yeah.
to I like you or I
Yeah.
like what you're saying. But because I used the word love, I just realized that to that person, it meant something else. And it was not what I meant. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oops, sorry. So it
Yeah.
is to gauge where people are at for you to use that. If it's with our children,
Mm-hmm.
if you've not been saying that to them, you can start. You know,
Yeah.
when you start, they will be like, oh, what is that coming from? Because they have heard from their surroundings. But then
Mm-hmm.
as you continue, you want to build a different attitude around your house or in your house. So start
Mm-hmm.
gradually, but then be consistent, telling them,
Yeah.
I love you. With time, they will get used to saying that I love you. And it's nice to hear your child tell you, Mom, I love you, or just I love
Mm.
you. It feels really
Absolutely.
nice. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing I just want to pick on that, Nelly, sometimes if we don't say these things and actually demonstrate it and make our children know, like you said, we need to, if we were not taught, we can learn it. It's a learning process. Because if we don't, and then our kids out there, they're seeking for validation, they're seeking for affirmation, they're seeking for somebody, maybe they're just seeking that somebody to tell them, I love. And that is why you see sometimes they may fall in the wrong hand. Yeah, right. Just because they are hearing what they wished to hear. And if we are not telling them that thing at home and somebody is telling them outside, that can be another easy way to lure them in, and exploit them in other ways just because they want that affection. So, like you say, yes, if we don't learn it, if we don't know it, we can start practicing it. It may feel weird or uncomfortable at first, but as long as we say it, and we need to first of all start it from ourselves, Nelly. And we've said it so many times that anything that we say that we want to do for our children, it needs to start from us. How many times do you stand and look yourself in the mirror and call your name and say, I love you? Right. So we need to start practicing it for with ourselves, and then as we do it, we start getting that courage and making it normal to say that, hey, you can comfortably tell your child that I love you. I love what Mel Robbins does, like I think in his book called High Five, where he talks about she gets up, she will stand in the mirror, you know she will high five herself in the mirror. And I've even heard some people will hug themselves, like you really give yourself a nice tight squeeze, hugging yourself and telling yourself that, hey, I love you. I love you. And when we do that, it becomes normal, right? So I think we're talking about recognizing everyday wins because today we're talking about celebrating our children. How can we celebrate our children despite the stress that they can give us, despite all the things that they do, you know, the times that they don't even listen, and all of that? How can we celebrate them? Because today we're talking about Valentine's Day. They are one of our priorities. Yes, it's good to have your Valentine, but these are our Valentines. These are our priorities. How can we celebrate them? So, Nelly, I don't know what I want to jump in that. What are the everyday wins and growth in our children that, cause for celebration?
Okay, so celebrating our children doesn't mean we spoil our children, or it doesn't mean spoiling. It
Mm-hmm.
is strengthening identity.
Yeah.
When we talk of celebrating our children, a lot of times you just think of a big party. No,
Mm,
celebrating our children from the very small things that we ignore on a daily basis. For instance, if a child wakes up, I know Peggy and myself, we always talk of our children and their alarms. If they get up after their alarm goes off, that is a win because
mhm,
sometimes the alarm goes off till the end. And then sometimes I am the one who puts off, I just shout, Alexa, stop. And then it will go off. But like when the children get up after the alarm goes off by
mm.
themselves, to me, that's a win.
Yeah.
If the children get ready on time to leave the house
Mm,
on time, that is a win. So let's start looking for the small, small things
yeah.
that our children have done. Let's not just wait for, say, it will be a big win if they graduate from high school, if they finish from university. How long is that? How many days make up the time they graduate from university? Start
Mm,
now with that practice, the small, small things every day, because at least a child will have a win in a day. It calls for celebration. Sometimes you talk of high five. Me, I like high five as well. When I want to celebrate my child or any of my children, it depends on the child because different children have different preferences.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sometimes, am I still on?
Yes, you are.
I don't know where my screen has gone to. Anyway, so celebrating children is different. One of my children, like just this week, one of my children came back home and was really excited because it did something well in school. And
Mm-hmm.
when I looked at the report, he was really excited. He was talking and smiling. I was talking and smiling, and I was like, let's give a high five. And that was all he wanted because he knew that
Yeah.
I celebrated him. So let's not
Yeah.
wait just for the very big things to celebrate because then those small things pile up to make the big things. But if we are waiting
Absolutely.
just for the big things, probably to me, I say that might be coming from a place of ego because if you are waiting to throw that big party, it will not even be about the child. It will be about the parent because they
Mm-hmm.
want to show off. They want their friends to come. But then that child is not the focus. So
Mm-hmm.
let's start celebrating small. And when I say this, I don't mean that we don't celebrate big. We need to celebrate big as well. But let's
Mm-hmm.
start from the small celebrations before we get to the big ones. And we need to start with ourselves. Like Peggy said, if you are struggling to celebrate even yourself,
Mm-hmm.
stand on the mirror because me, I like the mirror exercise. Stand on the mirror and talk to yourself because we talk to ourselves more than we talk to everyone. So when we start talking to ourselves and we feel confident, then we will be able to talk to our children. And our children need those praises because it
Yeah.
gives them the encouragement to do more because children always want to do good so their parents will be proud of them. But then, like Peggy said, sometimes our children do not do the things that we ask them to do. In that case, we have talked about it some time ago. For me, I say, the parent, you need to look at it. Is it your issue or is it the
Mm-hmm.
child's issue? Because sometimes parents tell the child to do something and they want that thing to be done immediately. But the
Yeah.
child will be like, Mom, I'm coming in a minute. And that a minute can turn to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or even longer. But then you as a parent, what is going on with you? It is common for parents to think that when I was their age, once I'm told to do something, I do it straight away. And that is the expectations. But then it is your issue, not the child's issue. If you focus on that, it will be highly likely that you will not even recognize the child's wins. So then you will not be able to celebrate that win because you've just ignored it and instead looking for the negative. Why haven't you done what I asked you to do? And sometimes when you do that over and over, the children become used to. And then when you
Mm.
start, they just look at you and they go because they know what's
Exactly.
coming. So then they might just conclude that anyway, I'll, whether I win or I lose, it means nothing. And then they will start because no one wants to be hurt because it's emotional.
Mm.
That emotion, we don't want to feel hurt. So if one, two, three times, so many times, the child feels that, well, even if no matter how much effort I put in, it is not recognized, it is not acknowledged, then the child will not want to put in as much effort as they would
Mm-hmm.
want to because they'll say it makes no difference. So it's
Mm.
looking at those small things. For me, I say, if there's something, take a pause, ask yourself, where is that coming from?
Mm.
Because when you take a pause just for 90 seconds or 10 seconds rather, it will help you to refocus. Even
Yeah.
sometimes just to change your position, it will
Mm-hmm.
help you. So try
Absolutely.
small things so we learn how to celebrate our children. It doesn't mean that we have to celebrate our children only the way our parents celebrated us. Now we need to start making those changes because like we are in a different times. Things are changing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to go back to the things that the way we were parented. It doesn't mean that we erase all, but we pick what helps us to grow. And the ones that we doubt or the ones that impact our well-being, our welfare, our esteem, our confidence, we need to look for alternatives that will help us to grow.
That is so true, Nelly. When you were talking, it one thing kept jumping in my mind, and it's gratitude. Because I feel that I think I'm speaking from experience that sometimes when, especially parents who are over perfectionist and parents who are like, I want you to, well, sum it up, perfectionist parents, we tend not to actually celebrate the little wins, in our children. We're always looking for that big one. When that child comes home and said, "Hey, I scored so and so in my grade," at the back of your mind, what you have in your mind, for example, if you knew that that child is projected to score 10 and they have come home and said, "Oh, I did a test and I scored 7." The first thing in your mind is, first of all, that critical voice like that comes on to say, "But it's not up to 10." But it takes a conscious mind to actually stop and pause, just like you say, to just pause even for 10 seconds to say, "But hang on, has that child, first of all, actually acknowledge them, first of all, and then that is where you kind of see that maybe that child has just scored 7 and the last grade that he scored was 5 or 6. So he has actually improved 1 mark up, which needs celebration. So that is one thing. And then the second thing that kept coming in my mind is that sometimes when we ask our kids to do certain things for us, maybe we put our parenting hat thinking that it is their duty to do that thing. So when they do the thing, there is no need for us to appreciate them for doing that thing. And I've noticed that lately, if my kids, because trust me, honestly, I won't lie to you. There are times I can count that my kids have done things and then I say, "Hey, thank you." But it's a conscious thing which I'm learning to say, you know what? The more you celebrate them and the more you appreciate them for what they do, they will want to do more. Lately, I started thanking my son for updating me. Like when he goes out, that's one thing he like. When he goes out, he keeps me updated where he is, what he's doing. And sometimes we take it for granted, right? And the other day I was just thinking, I was like, but when he told me that, Mom, I left school, I've just passed through the barbers. I just want to let you know I'll be home at so and so and so time. And it got dawned on me to say, you know what? Let me just say thank you for updating me. Thank you for telling me, because how many parents are out there worrying about the whereabouts of their kids? They don't even know when their kids left. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they are doing, and they're just blank. And think about the stress that they may be going through. Why in that doubt, or why in that dark, not knowing what is happening. And then here your child is there, your child is keeping you tapped, at least telling you, well, he may not be where he say he is, but at least he is telling you that this is what. So again, just to say thank you. Thank you for letting me. I appreciate that, the fact that you're telling me, you're keeping me updated. What about dishes? Things like if you come and they've done their dishes or even done their laundry, say, oh, thank you. Thank you for doing that. And I've noticed that, Nelly, when we appreciate them for what they've done, the tendency is for them to do more and want to do more. Why? Because I think they would want, in their ears, that appreciation sounds, they want to hear it more.
Yeah.
So that is another way of celebrating, which, like I say, I am also learning. I'm consciously learning, because me, most of the time, I always wear that my critical heart, carry my critical heart wherever I go. So it's a conscious thing that I'm learning to say, no, hang on. I need to. That's another way of celebrating them, by just showing gratitude and thanking them for what they're doing so far, just like you say, for the little wins that they're making, thanking them for that. Yeah.
Yeah, so just while you were speaking, just two things came to mind. You talk about our children. In psychology, you have positive reinforcement. So
Mm,
if that's why, as humans, it is highly likely that if we do something and we are praised, we will repeat
mhm,
that same thing. And that is how, if
mm,
you want to change habits, you go through that path. And then the
mhm.
other one you were talking about, the grades. So
Yes.
the approach that I would use is, if my child comes with a grade and they, are, they were projected a grade 10 and they came with a grade 7, I ask them first to get their opinion. How do you feel about that? What
Mm,
was your predicted grade? If it's a 10, I'm like, you have 7. It is good, that acknowledgement. However,
mhm,
you are below your target.
mm,
What is the learning point? What did you do that contributed to you not having your projected or your target?
mhm,
What do you need to do to get to that
mhm,
target? Like with my son now, I think it was this week, he came with his grade, and some of them he was down. He was below the target on some.
mhm.
And this is the approach I use, and this is the approach I have been using since I learned how to parent consciously. So
Yeah.
I asked them, and then because in that process of asking, he comes up with a plan. And he said, when I asked, how then would you get the targets? He
Mhm,
said he needs to revise more. I said, okay,
mhm,
what do you mean by revise more? So he said on Monday he will do whatever subject, Tuesday, and da, 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 da. He planned that all out. That's
mhm.
something that he knows he can work on
Yeah.
to get to the target. Though he said, Mom, I still have time. I can revise. And I was like, yes, you still have time, but there's much to do. It's
Yeah.
better you prepare, do your revision, and then when it
Mhm.
gets to that time, you already know, you just go over it. But if you
Yeah.
wait till the last minute, you will struggle because you feel that it's too much for you to do. And when
Yeah.
anxiety gets in, you will not be able to focus and concentrate. And that was
Yeah.
when he really felt that I was listening to him and I helped him to come out with an
Mhm,
action plan. And then I
mhm.
was like, so we need to celebrate because this is good. And then I
Yeah.
gave him the high five. So it's just to start small, not to
Yeah.
start big. Yeah, though it's common that parents want to celebrate their children by buying gifts and things like that. Yes, gifts are
Mm,
good, but our presence and the way we interact with our children goes
mm-hmm,
far more than the gifts that we buy, because anyone can buy a gift and just dump it there. It doesn't have
mm-hmm.
that connection, and the love is not it doesn't transmit the same as just being physically and emotionally present to celebrate our children with their small wins.
No, that is really, really true. And like I say, it takes consciousness and it takes that conscious parenting to be able to kind of recognize these things. And that brings us nicely to we need to learn to celebrate. And because celebration builds confidence, just like you talk about, is it positive reinforcement? Right. Positive reinforcement. When we recognize that good thing that they've done or that micro win that they've had and we celebrate them, that builds their confidence. That means they're like, oh, that means I'm doing great and I want to do great. And one thing that we always need to let them know that when we celebrate them in one aspect, their confidence in that aspect actually grows. It's just like, for example, a child that maybe doesn't like cleaning their shoes before they go to school and they wear dirty shoes. When they actually take their time and clean it once and you celebrate them for that, you know, it actually builds their confidence. And again, it's about letting them know the important, the positivity of you doing, of them doing that thing. When you show up with clean shoes, how do you feel? When you show up looking in clean shoes, how do you feel? That's why I always ask my son, because someday when he comes back and he's so tired, he removed the shoes, muddy shoes, and then the next morning he wakes up and then he's running to catch his bus, and then he'll just carry that dirty shoes and then wear it, and then he's going to school. And I was like, when you wear those shoes, how do you really feel with that type of shoes? And then you're showing up in school. And children sometimes they'll just shrug their shoulder. They're like, mm. So it's about telling them that, what, when you clean your shoes, tell me how you feel when you're in a clean shoes. And when they know how they feel, it's about celebrating it like, what, you look good when you wear clean shoes. You look good when you're looking this way. We're celebrating them the way they appear. And then the way we celebrate them they want to do that thing. And that is how their confidence grows in that aspect. When they stand wherever, they're smelling good, they're looking good, they're clean, it actually builds that confidence. And it also gives them a sense of emotional security, by knowing that, hey, my parent actually love the way I look. My parents celebrate me the way I am, you know, and in that way, it begins to build their value. It begins to boost their self-esteem in such a way that even if somebody else there says something on the contrary, we have already implanted in them that sense of worthiness by celebrating them, by appreciating them, by recognizing them. So in that way, it actually builds their emotional security. I don't know, Nelly, I know you have a lot to say on this one as well.
Yeah, from the very beginning, I said love begins from the home. So there are
Yeah.
just small things that we need to start practicing. If you are a parent watching and you've not been celebrating your children, is to start looking at those small wins. For instance, if a child comes back from school with their school bag, with all their books in it calls for celebration. Sometimes we take a lot of things for granted, but once
Mm,
you start, the children will notice that there's something different. If they come back from school and they take off their bags, take off their uniforms, take off their shoes and put them where they are meant to put them, it calls for
mm,
celebration. Even just saying, oh, thank you so much. And one tip is when you want to say thank you, don't just say thank you. What are you thanking
mm,
them for? Be
mm,
specific. Thank you for putting your bag where it's meant to be. Thank you for
Mm.
taking off your uniform and putting where it's meant to be. Because as a parent, we know why we are saying thank you. But that
Yes.
child doesn't necessarily know the thank you that you are saying. So that's why you need to be specific.
Yes.
Because then the next day when they come back, they'll easily remember that, oh, my mom, my dad thanked me, they celebrated me for putting my uniform where I'm meant to put it. It is highly
Mm.
likely they will put that uniform. So just going back to my children,
Mm.
they, I mean, I used to buy them stuff, but it came to a point where I would buy, and out of respect, they'll say, oh, mom, thank you very much. But I then realized they would never wear what I bought.
Mm-hmm.
So then I learned that I will not be buying stuff for them. So I told them, I know what I bought. You didn't like it because you did not wear it. You did not even measure it. You just took it,
Mm-hmm.
folded it, or you put it away, which tells me you don't like it. So over time, my children feel comfortable to tell me that, yeah, mom, I didn't like it. It's not my style. So I told them, if you want something, you can either take a photo of, take a link of what you want, or you request for what you want, and I will give you the money to go and buy. So now, when they come, like with my son, he just told me that, mom, I'm going to town. I'm like, okay, he was going with his friends. And when he came back, he bought some outfit. And when he wore it, I was like, wow, you look really, really good in them. Because I'd never known that he would wear that kind of an outfit. But he wore it and it looked so good on him. And I was like, you look really, really good. And then to top it up, he went and spread his perfume. And I was like, "Hmm, you smell really, really good." So
Yeah.
then each time he dresses, he'll come and show me, mom, how do I look? I'm like, spot on. So now he feels very comfortable. He can go to town on his own if he
Mm-hmm.
wants to buy an outfit for himself. So, like you said, when we celebrate our children, it gives them the confidence, because now
Yes.
he knows, because he is developing, not just him, my other children, each of them are developing their own styles,
Yes.
which some of them mostly are very different from mine. And
Mm-hmm.
it's to give them that independence. What do they like? Instead of us buying that, you have to wear this. Gone are those days where, like when we were younger, whatever was bought for us, we wore them because we didn't have any choice. We didn't have any say. And now
Mm-hmm.
our children, they know what they want. You will, it doesn't matter how much you spend, they might take it. If they don't like it, they'll just leave it there.
That is so true. That is so true. And when you're talking, I just picture the very first day that, well, my son knew that he's always loved his hair. My eldest son. I think he's had something with his hair. He's so particular about his hair and his face. Very particular. And there was a time where I know I didn't really like him keeping locks. But it got to a point where when I noticed that that is what he likes, I just let him. So long as he was managing him, he was doing his locks and managing it. I did not spend anything on it. But as time went on, he himself, even though when he would come back and he was like, you know what, I said, you really look so handsome, even without your locks. You look really handsome. You know, your looks does not define you. You know, you naturally without it, you are wonderful. And then I come this day, he's gone for some reason. He just went and shaved his hair. And then I was in the kitchen, and then he came, he opened the door, he said, Mom, ta-da! And then he said, I'm sure you like it. Oh, that day I was just showering praises. Like, you look, are you? And he's like, are you sure? I said, yes. I said, you know what? And do you know? ever since then, he goes and shaves his hair. And he himself has said, Mom, you're really right. You're true. Because when I stand in the mirror and look at myself with my low cuts now, I really look really handsome. I say, yeah. And again, what am I saying is sometimes the society, because it's a trend, our kids get to a point sometimes where it's a trend. Everyone is doing it. And they feel that by doing that thing, it defines them. It actually makes them who, kind of adds to who they are. Yes, it may add to who they are, but they really need to get to a point where they have to celebrate themselves, knowing that without it, I am still my worth. And that reinforcement comes from parents, because we are the parents that we need to keep celebrating them, telling them that, hey, even with your imperfection, even in your imperfection, you are still perfect. You are okay. You are beautiful just the way you are. Yes, sometimes you really drive me mad. Sometimes, some days you really drive me crazy. But you know what? I still love you. You are still my perfect child. So I think, and talking about that conscious parenting, Nelly, I feel that sometimes we parents, we need to get to that point of growth and healing, to be able to get to that, attain that point where we know that we can really come backward and just be in the present, to be able to acknowledge and celebrate our kids without actually focusing on the past or even over worrying about the future. We just need to be present, and that present moment, what are they doing at that moment? What have they done at that moment? What is it that we can celebrate about them at that moment? What is it that we can thank them at that moment? So it's about that consciousness to say, you know what, this is my child at this moment. What is it that I can celebrate in them? And that takes us to the third point, where it talks about we need to start learning and identifying some practical ways that we can affirm our kids regularly. Because just like you said, Nelly, it takes that consciousness, it takes that practice. Every day you can come up, because just like saying it now, I've been learning, I've picked a few points from you where, yes, why not? I can actually identify many things that I will celebrate today. Or maybe today you can get up every morning and say, today I will make sure that I consciously celebrate my child in this area, in that area, in that area, in that area. Because if I prepare it and put it in my mind consciously, then I will be, I will, the like, I will do it. I'll be able to do it. But if I get up in the morning, if I don't prepare my mind consciously, the auto mode is going to kick in, and that autopilot mode is that our criticism hat, where we just put our hat. So yeah,
You know,
think yeah.
you were talking about being in the present. I like this book by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart
Mm-hmm,
Tolle, and he talks about the now. It is the only life we have. So when you practice over time, you will
mm-hmm.
realize that you will always want to make the maximum out of the now.
Yes.
So you don't need to be thinking of what had is just now, because it is the only life that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot, because we need to like let go of many other things and embrace uncertainty, because we don't know what is coming. So again, it starts with us. I know I wanted to say something, but it's gone. I can't remember what I wanted to talk about, but that one is gone. So to share the practical how to affirm our children is,
Mm-hmm.
I like the I statement.
Mm.
Use the I statement. And like when I talked about be specific when you are celebrating your children, it's similar. You can say, I notice, for instance, I notice you put the rubbish in your lunch box, or I notice you emptied the rubbish from your lunch box. So just small things. People make up their affirmations. We cannot script affirmations and give people to use,
Mm.
because you know your child, You
Mm-hmm.
know what works best for you. So script it to make it very personal. Because, like for me, I will say to my children, and each of them is different. It's not just one fits all. Each of the children,
Mm.
because children respond differently to different things. So
Mm.
it's for parents to understand their individual children and know what they like. Like I know one of my, I think all the children, when I finish making a call and I don't say, I love you, it is a problem. It is a problem because I'll be like, one of my daughters will be like, when we finish, she won't say it. She'll just be making, so then I'll be like, what is that? And then I'll remember that, oh, I didn't say I love you. Probably she said it, but I didn't hear,
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes when you are doing some other things, you are being distracted. But then
Mm-hmm.
she has done it so many times that when she makes that, I know that it's something that she is expecting me to do. So it's sometimes it might sound weird, but it's
Mm.
for you to understand your child's love language because
Yeah,
everyone has their own love language. And from the love language, you can come up with personalized affirmations that is specific
absolutely.
to that child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just talking about that, it just kind of caught my attention that, there is one thing action that my little boy usually does sometimes, and I think I've not been actually reciprocating that action. There are some days that when he comes back and he meets me, he just brings his hand and just throw them on my shoulder and he gives me a hug. And I will hug him back, but then most of the time I was just like, how was your school today? Or how was your day? So I think I might change it now a little bit. Maybe when he comes like give me that hug, yes, I'll hug him back and I ask him about his day. But I think that maybe just follow up to say, you know what, I love you. I think that may make a difference. So yeah, that's something that I'm taking with me. I'm going to be learning at least adding that onto my dose, my palette of conscious parenting.
Yeah, because it's those small additions that makes a difference.
Hmm.
Because the
Yeah.
difference it makes is massive. Because like you talked earlier, is that confidence because they know that when I go back, my mom is there. I'll give my mom a hug. And
Hmm.
when he initiates it, you've just talked of your son. When your son initiates that hug, it
Mm.
means different from when you initiate the hug. So
Mm.
when he initiates that hug, let him be the one to detach from the hug, not you.
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
if you want the hug to end sooner, then you are missing something. Because
Mm.
he initiated it, just let him, because that is a way of expressing his emotions. Just
Yeah.
let him hold him until he indicates that he wants to come off.
Hmm.
And maybe to make it different, when you are giving him that hug, don't say a word.
Yeah.
And then when he starts detaching, you might then follow it with, I love you. And then
Mm.
start asking him about how was your day? What did you do? What did you like best? What did you not like? And things like that. It will make
Yeah.
a massive difference.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I'm going to try that because I'm going to practice that. Yes, so another thing we talk about encourage gratitude in the single parenting journey, which I think that is the crux, first of all, of what we celebrated. Because yes, I know tomorrow is Valentine's Day, everybody is talking about it, the social media is going to be talking about it, people are going to be posting pictures left, right, center. Some people are going to be showing off their partners and showing off whatever where they are. They've gone to Dubai, they've gone to America, they've gone to wherever and wherever and wherever. And trust me, sometimes as a parent, especially single parents, you sat there thinking like, what is it for me to celebrate? and what is it for me about the Valentines? And this is the moment where we can say there is trillion reason why this Valentine is actually for you and why you should even celebrate the Valentines even more than all the posts that people are posting on social media. And the reason for that is because you are there, whether as a single parent or as both parents, but especially as a single parent, you are there. You carry the shoulder of you carry the body, your shoulders carry the burdens of your children. We have been talking about practical ways and ways of how to affirm your love and affection for these children. You are doing so well that this is the moment to actually go back in, like Nelly say, reflect, just pause and actually appreciate and celebrate yourself for who you are and what you're doing as a parent. So this is where we encourage gratitude in your single parenting journey. And it starts with gratitude of saying, you know what? Looking yourself in the mirror and say, thank you. Well done. Peggy, well done. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for the journey so far. You know, thank you for, even though when you're tired, even when all these things are happening, you are still there. You are still showing up. You are still doing the things that you are doing. And yes, you have to celebrate Valentine's Day. You don't need somebody else to validate you or make you feel like that's only way you can celebrate Valentine's Day. It's about, first of all, showing gratitude in our parenting journey. So Nelly, I don't know what I have anything to say on that.
Yeah, gratitude, every little thing we need to
Mm,
be grateful about because that is the language of the universe.
mm,
Gratitude. Because as much as we feel or we think that we want to be in control of things, there is a higher power that
yes.
controls. So when you learn to surrender,
Yeah.
gratitude is the universe's language.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about the mirror work, I do a lot of mirror work. And when I'm working with people, I teach them how to do the mirror work. So
Mm,
I learned this mirror work from Lisa Nichols.
yeah.
And when I started, it was really difficult because the one I use is look into my eyes in the mirror. And I started by looking and say, Nelly, I forgive you. It was really hard.
Mm,
And but then as time went on, that strain reduced to the extent that I could look at my eyes and I won't feel a thing because that guilt has gone away, but that's over time.
yeah.
So then I'll just stand on the mirror and talk to Nelly. I appreciate Nelly. I praise Nelly.
Mm,
Just like that. So
mm,
I remember I went to a friend's house and I was just like on the mirror and I was just because I was like, I really love this person that is coming out of me after so many years. I didn't even know the person I was carrying. But now
mm,
I really, really love this Nelly. She is becoming so vibrant. She's so confident and things like that. So I was just like, I was not talking, by the way. I was just looking. And then, when you look at yourself, I'm like, it's just me. I'm looking at it. It seems as if I'm looking at someone else.
yeah.
And then I didn't realize that this, my friend, was looking at me. And she was like, Nelly, just you looking at yourself on the mirror like that. And then when I turned, I was like, oh, I didn't realize you were looking at me. Because for me, that's how I show gratitude because I look at myself and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I look good. If before I leave my house, whatever, how I look is up to me.
Yes.
If I go out and someone tells me that, oh, Nelly, you look good, you smell good, I'm like, oh, thank you. That is not what I am looking for because I already know.
Yes.
So I'm not going out there seeking for validation because I
Mm,
already know that I am looking good. I am smelling good. But then if it's the other way around, we will struggle. So however you present yourself, be grateful and be contented with what you have, because sometimes
Absolutely.
we fall the trap to compare. And then we start saying that, oh, this person is beautiful than I am. What is the definition of beauty? Sometimes we
Absolutely.
say, what you are wearing, you look so gorgeous. But when I wear that, comparison comes in.
Yes.
Comparison comes from a place of scarcity. So it
Absolutely.
is to work on switching that mindset from
Mm-hmm.
scarcity. It is gradual, but if you are there wanting to look for a quick fix, I'm sorry, you won't get the quick fix. It comes with
Definitely.
time, over time, and you need to put in the effort. I just brought this in because looking at the way people want things, they want instant gratification. And when you want to delay that gratification, they don't want it. And
Mm.
this reflects on our children as well, because our children copy from the parents.
Yeah.
When we start being grateful, our children pick up on that. And they,
Mm.
their own little way, they develop that to be grateful as well. So gratitude is very, very important, because when you are grateful with the little things, the universe will add onto the little that you have. Don't be looking
Mm.
out there for someone who has more. You don't know what that person is going through. That person might have
Absolutely.
more, but not having sleep. They might be taunted at night, not
Yes.
having any sleep, but you have little and you're able to have sleep. So those are some of the fear aspects that we learn. And we were not born with those. That is the work of the ego, because the ego thrives on fear. But we as human beings are born out of love, because our creator, God, the source, is love. And when I talk of love, there's something, I don't know if you've heard of agape love.
Yes.
Yes, agape love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to start practicing bit by bit. I know because of fear, people have developed so many, we talk of evil, demon, da, 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 da. But it's for you to take a step back and start asking, where has that come from? Some of them are from our parents, our great grandparents, just from generation to generation. But it's to take a step back and start questioning. Like what I say is question everything.
Absolutely.
Everything. Question everything.
Absolutely. No,
Because
that is
when
so
you question,
true.
you start unpicking where what came from. Does that align with
Mm-hmm.
you? Then you start taking steps. What do you throw? Similar to, you need to get some people out of your life if you want to progress, because people will not want you to be different from them in the sense that you are making some progress. Because when you're climbing the pyramid, it's steep at the top and you'll be lonely. I did not
Yep.
really realize that, but now I'm realizing it. But I'm not lonely in the sense that I feel very confident being alone, because in my head, there's so much that I always want to learn. So these small things is being grateful, gratitude. And our children also pick up on that, because when you identify who you are, for instance, I did not realize that I was an empath or an introvert. It took me lots and lots of learning, studying before I could realize. And then I've just noticed that all my children are introverts,
Mm.
because sometimes when they come and they talk to me, mom, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, it's okay. It's normal. It's because you are just like your mother. You are an introvert. And I'm like, what is
Mm.
that? So it's being grateful and be contented with what you have,
Yes.
because that way your children will be seeing you. They know how you respond to things. They come to you because they feel confident that
Mm-hmm.
you, even if it's something that you don't have an answer, you all will work together to come up with a solution. And that is how you carry on life. Be grateful for everything. Gratitude. You can have a gratitude journal. You can have a gratitude routine. Like in the morning, when you wake up in the morning, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you just get up first thing, you pick up your phone and you start scrolling? What do you do? For me, what I do is as I turn in bed and I know it's my time to wake up, I thank my God, I thank the universe, and I surrender my day. That this is
Yeah,
my day. I don't know how my day will look like, but I'm grateful for whatever comes my way because I trust
exactly.
God and I know that the universe, the source, God will lead me through the day. So
Yeah.
gratitude, I can talk about gratitude the whole day. And also when you're
It
going
it
to bed,
yeah. And it is gratitude, like you say, is the language of the universe. And if we are not grateful in life, Nelly, we're gonna be living life as victims. And the worst thing for us to live our lives is living our lives as a victim, where you feel like everything is against you or nothing has ever good has ever happened to you, and you're always living life thinking, oh, maybe, oh, tomorrow is going to be better than today. Or tomorrow, yeah, we always say like, let tomorrow be better than today. But let it flow. Let it not come from the point of, oh, maybe you go online and you see somebody jubbling, happy. Like somebody called me yesterday. Someone called me yesterday. It was one lady that we've been doing some projects for a very long time, and she called me. We've not spoken for a long while, and she called me. I was like, "Oh, you're doing so great. You're doing so well. What, you've left me behind?" I was like, "What do you mean by I've left you behind?" He said, "Oh, I'm seeing you on social media. You're doing your posts." I was like, "The fact that I'm doing my posts on social media does not mean that I've left you behind. Maybe you're not." He said, "But then I'm not posting the way you're posting." I said, "Because maybe you've got other things that are a priority to you. Everybody has got a priority, and everybody at every point in their life, they've got different things that they can do. So just the fact that I've doing a few videos here and there, that is not even my priority, but at least I'm just doing it just to. And the fact that I'm even doing it does not mean that everything is rosy for me. I might have just cried. Maybe I'm doing that pose immediately after I cried and then just wash my face and put some makeup and come and do that pose. How will you know? You understand? So again, sometimes this is the thing that social media kind of makes us feel like, oh, we are behind. Oh, look at what that person is doing. Oh, look at where they are. Look at this. No, hey, calm down. Everybody has got their lane. I've got my lane, you've got your lane, everyone have got their lane. And I always say, so long as we stay in our lane, and staying in your lane means gratitude. That means you say, you know what, I am grateful for life where I am. I'm grateful that I know where I am going to. And if you don't know, if you're a parent listening to us and you feel like, because not knowing, having a clarity of your journey, where you're going, can become frustrating. And it can make you feel like, you know what, you're missing out. No, the only thing that makes you feel that way is because you haven't really sat down to reflect, to say that, hang on, what do I want? And do I want, where do I want to be? Where am I going? What is the journey? Have you got a clarity? Have you got a map that you want to achieve? What are the things that you want to achieve? It can be as little as a tiny thing that you want to achieve, but at least that is a goal. And this is where we talk about goal setting. You know, some people just get up in the morning and say, you know what, whatever the wind takes me, I'm just gonna go. But when we start learning how to be grateful and set goals, set little tiny goals, when we achieve that tiny goal, we appreciate it, we show appreciation, we celebrate, then we begin to feel more fulfilled in our lives, which is, I think, that is most important. Yeah.
yeah, just looking at the time.
Yes, so we've come 5 minutes. I feel that Nelly, we've covered all the topics that all the areas that we wanted to cover, and I just feel that yes, we are celebrating Valentine's Day, and we are celebrating, the most important thing is for us to celebrate our children. So tomorrow is Valentine's Day. everybody, whether I know what some of you are going to watch this after, even after the Valentine Day is gone, but find time, always make it a duty to celebrate your child, celebrate them, because the more you celebrate them, the more you bring out you boost their confidence, and you provide them with that emotional security. And as well, celebrate yourself for the wonderful achievement, the wonderful parenting that you're doing. And any area where you feel that you're lacking, you can grow, you can develop it. So yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for this session. And Peggy has rounded it up well. I don't have much to say anymore. I wish you a happy Lover's Day. Love starts from the home. Love starts with you. Love starts with me. Love starts with us. And
Mhm.
then we spread it out.
Yeah.
Let us spread love, genuine love to the
Mhm.
world, and just be ourselves.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
all from me.
All right, then. Have a nice, but happy Valentine's Day. You take care.
Thank
Take care.
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.